Hello everybody, welcome to this restorative class tonight. And you might want to just gather all your resources for this. So we're going to need a chair, and I've got quite a few blankets around the place, so if you've got a few, that'd be really good. If you have a belt, yoga belt or the equivalent, that'd be great. And either a bolster or something like a bolster, something off your sofa or thick cushion. I think that should be everything. I've also got a hot water bottle. Don't know if you fancy a hot water bottle. It's just the kind of mood I'm in tonight. And we're going to start, once you've gathered everything, we're going to start with our legs on the chair in a Viparita Karani, a great rejuvenator pose to start, hi Tonton, to start the practice. So I've got a blanket on top of the chair. I've got a blanket underneath my lower back. I've got a blanket or a cushion under my head. And I think what I would do, in fact, I'll do it with my hot water bottle, is place something of weight on the shins. Hi, Carly. Hi, Marion. Hi, everyone who's just rocking up. Do you know, I think there might be I looked outside of my window and my phone time seems to be 5 minutes behind, or ahead of rather, the clock in Dalton Square. So I think maybe sometimes I start earlier than most people would like me to. I'm not sure. Anyway, here we go. You might want to cover yourself in a blanket. Take time to really settle here because we're going to stay for about 10 minutes. And it's really nice to have your thighs, your upper legs, absolutely perpendicular with the floor. So you almost feel your thigh bones dropping into your hip sockets. And you need to arrange your lower legs on the chair in such a way that they can really rest. So you might need to, it'll all depend on your proportions, but you might need something more underneath your back or something more underneath your lower legs, your calves, to get that nice right angle. Take your time to settle. You might want to have an eye pillow over your eyes, or a pair of socks or something. Clean ones. And once you feel you've found a position where you'd like to stay, take a few moments to come into your body. And what do you notice as you allow your attention to settle in the body? Can you feel your lower legs supported on the chair? And can you really drop your calf muscles into that support completely? And then maybe you notice the weight of your pelvis, the back of your pelvis resting into the surface beneath you. And your thigh bones dropping into your hip sockets. And as you feel the weight of your skeleton, the weight of your bones, can you really soften completely in the lower belly? And trace your attention up the rest of the body, back of your ribs, shoulders, arms, back of your head. And noticing the quality of a natural breath. Not trying to change the breath, just simply noticing how the breath will bring subtle movement into the body. How soft are you in the back of your throat? And the roof of your mouth? And can you be aware of your tongue, from the tip of your tongue right to the back of the tongue? And then if you would like to only, can you begin to curl the tip of your tongue back to the throat as far as it'll go? And then bring the tip of your tongue back and slide it out through your lips and see if you can touch your chin with the tip of the tongue. And then curl it back again. Take the tip back to the throat. And so on for a few rounds. We do this as just one other way of bringing some release into the jaw. Only do as many as feels right for you. And then settling back into resting in this rejuvenating pose. Viparita Karani. And in this practice tonight, I'd like to invite for all of us our bodies into reflection. So what I mean by this is that rather than rack your thinking mind which we want to rest. You can allow your bodies, our bodies, to reflect and digest all the experience and sensations that have been embodied over the last few days or maybe weeks or longer, and that can be emotional as well. Some of us have lost dear ones recently, whether or not to COVID, it doesn't matter, but sometimes can feel the death of somebody very close is a real visceral, embodied feeling. And we can learn so much in deep rest as we allow our bodies this time for reflection. Or it may be that your reflections are more an embodiment of joy or bliss, freedom. Or most likely a combination of all sorts of sensation, emotion, and lived experience. Let your body do the remembering. And I'm going to leave you in silence just for the final few moments in this pose, with the invitation, if you would like to bring an intention into your practice, or maybe a dedication. What do you really want? Who do you really want to bless with this practice? Can you give yourself permission to rest deeply? And in your own time, really take it slow. And to bring your knees in towards you. And maybe roll over to one side. And take a moment. And we'll meet in a seated position of your choice. And we're not going to, unless you're going to sit on the chair now, we're not going to use a chair for the rest of the practice. You could move it away. And do flip on your videos if you want to, but of course, no pressure there. And come to your seat. You could be kneeling, you could be on a bolster, you could be cross-legged, but make comfort the priority. And if you'd like to just take your left fingertips to the floor, hopefully you can reach the floor. And on a breath in, lift up your right arm. And breathe out, take your hand to the left ear. And very lovingly, without yanking, ease your head over to the right. And you might want to drop the left shoulder a little bit here. And you can move your head around a little bit to find where the sensation feels good on the left side of the neck. Keep breathing. And some of you might like to experiment with opening and closing your mouth a bit, kind of gurning a little bit with the jaw. Just to see what you find there in the jaw, the neck, the throat. Take a few more moments to drop into this very gentle, enriching of sensation in the left side of the neck. And then in your own time, you can bring your head back to neutral and drop the right hand to the floor. And then with your left fingertips to the floor, inhale, and right fingertips to the floor. Inhale and lift your left arm up. And exhale, take your hand to the ear and come to do exactly the same thing on the other side in your own time. So we're not looking to pull. You can move your head around a bit. You can drop the right shoulder. You can open and close your mouth. Really feeling into the jaw, the right side of the neck. And then gently, gently release. And just take a moment to feel the head, feel the neck. Your shoulders dropping away from your ears. Really soft skin on your face. And you can change the cross of your legs. And interlace your hands behind your head. I want you to really allow the back of your head to drop into your hands. So you're not lifting the chin too much, but having a sense of the weight of your head into your hands. And as you breathe in, maybe lift your chin a little bit more, but nothing that's a strain. And then as you breathe out, you're going to ease your chin into your chest as you ease your elbows towards each other. And I cannot overemphasize that this is not a strain. This is feather light, and your arms are like butterfly wings. As you move in between this gentle tilt back and this gentle coming forwards. And keep going, and if it feels particularly nice in one side of that movement, if it really feels good to have your head forwards, then stay there for a few breaths. And possibly notice that although we're most explicitly working with the neck, that maybe the movement travels through the whole body so that you observe what's happening with the pelvis, with the rest of the spine. with the ribs. Just taking a few more. Make it really delicious, really sensual and simple. And then when you're ready, just releasing your hands, taking a moment to feel the body. I'm going to take a very brief and very light twist. So inhaling, and as you exhale, take your left hand to your right knee and your right hand behind you. And as you breathe in, look back to the front. And as you breathe out, twist lightly again to the right. So there's no force here. And as you breathe in, look to the front again. And your shoulders can come with you. And as you breathe out, twist to the right and take a few breaths here. Really dropping the lower jaw away from the upper jaw. Take a breath in. And then breathe out, come all the way back to the front with your head and your hands. Take another breath in. And then come the other way. Right hand to the left knee. Left hand behind you. Looking over your left shoulder initially. And then breathe in, look around to the front. And bring your shoulder with you. And breathe out, twist again, look over that shoulder. And breathe in, come to the front. And breathe out, look over that shoulder. Use your eyes as well. And last time, breathe into the front. And then breathe out, look over the shoulder and stay for a few breaths, but without strain. Or if you are straining, observe when and where that's happening. And soften around the edges. Take a full breath in. And then on the out breath, come back to the front and take a moment here. We're going to come into the second of our restorative poses. And I'm going to give you a choice of two options here. I'm going to grab a bolster, if you have one, something equivalent. Let me show you first, because it might just not work for you to take this version. So I'm lying over the bolster, and I kind of want, if you had a line down the middle of the bolster, it would be at the point at which your pelvis meets the top of the thighs. So you're not, it's not lying flat on your belly. It's kind of at the crease of your pelvis, of your hips. And then you might want to, if you have something heavy or a hot water bottle, take that over your feet. You want to feel a real resting in the feet. And then you're going to bring your hands underneath your forehead. And we're going to stay for 10 minutes. So this is the first version. And some of you might feel it's a little bit uncomfortable on the lower back. Might not be right for your belly. So that's one version. And if it doesn't work for you, come to this. You take away the bolster. And you lie flat on your belly. Hands underneath the head. I'd quite like us to bring some attention to the feet. So if you're, this is for those of you who are without the bolster, but you could try with the bolster too. And you're going to curl your toes under. maybe for a few breaths, pushing through the heels. You might want to circle into the ankles in one direction and then the other direction, so that you can really bring sensation into the feet and then rest them. So you choose your option. And you might want to take some intentional breaths down into the belly here. And I receive some of you may subscribe to the same thing. I receive emails from a woman called Dana Gerhardt, and her blog, if you like, is called Moon Circles. And sometimes I'm interested in astrology and sometimes I'm not. But what I like is at the end of the blog, there's another woman who offers a yoga pose to align with the phase of the moon. So we're about to go into a new moon now, Pisces new moon. And as Jenny Faulkner is the woman who provides the asana, the physical pose. And this was the pose she provided today, or recommended. And she described the pose like a large resting whale. So you kind of come into the sense of surrendering your body to the ocean. And it'd be quite normal in a restorative pose to not find ease immediately, but to notice where there's tension and to just invite some gentle, loving softness into those areas. See if you can let go another notch, another layer. And we stay a while. Resting the feet. Dropping that tension away from the back of the ribs and the shoulders. And allowing our pelvis to become super heavy as you drop into either the floor or the bolster that you're on. A whale resting in the depths of the ocean. Or on the surface. Stay very close to yourself, very close to your breath. And the only thing you need to do is rest deeply and allow your body to do the reflecting, the remembering, the letting go. Can you drop a little deeper? Keep letting go. We'll spend a couple more minutes here. You feel your body riding the swell of the ocean. Gentle swell. As you breathe and you rest. Very heavy. Heavy but simultaneously buoyant. Keep giving yourself permission to rest. Sometimes it feels like an indulgence, maybe. But you may notice that when you're deeply rested, you have a very different relationship to the world around you, to your friends and family, to your plants, animals. Deeply rest. And we're going to come out very slow again. Just begin to push into your hands, your forearms. And just enough to bring yourself back into a very brief child's pose as a counter pose. We won't stay for long. You could have your head on your bolster. And from here, we're going to come into Bananasana, banana pose on our backs. And it would be, you could use a belt for this, but you don't have to. So take your time, we've got plenty of time. I've got a loop in the end of my belt and I'm going to take it around my right foot. And I'm going to hold the other end, far end of the belt with the right hand. So you need something that's long enough. And I'm going to lie down on my mat, or you're going to lie on your mat, and take the right ankle over the left. And keep pulling the belt with your right hand past, let's bring it over the body, past the left ear. And then you're going to just shift your shoulders and your head around to the left as you walk your feet around to the left. So we're making a banana C shape where we're closing around to the left and we're opening the right side of the body. So you could, like I said, you could do this without a belt and simply hold your wrists, pulling the right, or not pulling, but easing the right arm over with the left hand. Or you, with this belt, which you can treat like the string of a bow, you can take your left hand and begin to push it away from you. So this shouldn't, I don't want this to be uncomfortable in any way. It should feel like quite a delicious easing into the right side of the body. And take your head wherever it feels comfortable. So I think those instructions might not have been the clearest. My right arm is actually up past my right ear. I hold the belt and I'm pushing my left hand into the belt out towards the left, like the string of a bow. And I've eased my shoulders round to the left, my both feet around to the left. And you could say this was more of a yin pose, and that we're inviting quite strong sensation into the pose, which restorative poses don't generally do. But I'm hoping it feels restful and quite pleasurable, and that you can breathe more fully into the right lung. Relax into the jaw and behind the eyes. And the other thing that can happen is that your right shoulder and right hip lift a little. So can you intentionally, on an exhalation, drop the right shoulder and the right hip towards the floor? And breathe. And keep releasing, keep dropping here. As you rest and as your body reflects. And we'll just take a little bit longer on this side and we'll then change to the other side. Where do you feel it? And where can you drop a little bit, let go a little bit more? And where do you find space to breathe? Taking a full breath in. And as you breathe out, release your arms, release your hand from the belt. Take your right ankle over the left and simply realign yourself into a straight line and allow yourself time to feel the rebound after Bananarasana on the right. Feel your contact with the floor. And then when you're ready, take the loop of your belt over the left foot. If you like the belt version, remember you can do this without a belt. And lie in a straight line initially, the other end of the belt in your left hand. And then walk your feet to the right. Head your shoulders and head to the right, creating that C shape. Take your left ankle over the right if that feels okay to you. And as you pull your belt up, so your left arm is up past the left ear. If you're using the belt, push the right hand in the middle of it like the string of a bow. Or if you're just using your arms without the belt, take hold of the left wrist with the right thumb and forefinger and ease the arm around to the right. So we're creating a real sense of opening in the left side of the body. Breathe. And take a breath in actually, and on the exhale, really drop into the left hip and the left shoulder. Drop them towards the floor. And take a while to settle into this quite unusual pose. I love it for facilitating a fuller breath into the chest, each side of the lungs. And rest your head wherever it feels comfortable. It doesn't matter which direction you're looking. Breathe. Let go wherever you notice that you're holding on, or at least invite a letting go in. Keep dropping, keep resting, keep breathing. How relaxed are you in the face now? How soft is your forehead? And then take a full breath in. And as you breathe out, release. Uncross your ankles. And just bring yourself back into a straight line and take a few moments to feel the body now. The sides of the body, relationship between the back of the body and the floor. And for the next pose, we're going to use the belt again. And if you've got a block, just like you to place the block underneath your head, and you make the biggest loop possible on your belt. It might not work for those of you who are much taller than me with really long legs. There's a few of you out there. So let's just see how you get on with this. We've done it before in this class. I really love it. So you're going to take your head's on the block to give you a little bit of a head start. You're going to take the belt around your feet. You could take it just in front of the heels, actually, where your heels begin to come into the instep of your feet. And then take the belt behind your head, and if you can, straighten your legs. And this should, and you just allow your arms to drop. And it should feel very comfortable. You shouldn't feel a strain because the physics of the pose means that your legs and your head are kind of balanced out. So you begin to get quite a nice gentle release out through the neck, the top of the shoulders and the top of the back. If it feels anything like a strain, I would rather you came out of the pose. And you could take a very, very gentle downward dog, maybe place your head on a bolster. Something like that as an equivalent, but it's not the same as this really. And again, it takes a while to trust the prop. So can you trust the belt and just drop into your shoulders? And breathe. We'll stay for about 5 minutes here. Breathe and really drop. Can you totally drop head into the belt? Allow your feet to take the slack. And come into your own stillness. And as you spend longer here, what do you notice? What do you notice in your skeleton, for example? Your bones. What do you notice about your breath? Your internal organs. Can you rest in this pose? Breathe. How soft are you in your wrists and the palms of your hands? Your fingertips? Okay. So you take your hands to the belt on either side and just gently bend your knees so that you can then release the belt from the back of your head as you rest your head on the block. And then release the belt from the feet. And take your feet to the floor and slide your legs out. And just have a little lie here, your head elevated slightly. Allow the body to settle. Drop into your shoulders. Really heavy in your shoulders, the back of your ribs. And your pelvis. Can you feel the weight of your pelvis now? For me, I don't know about you, but what we've done so far is it's like my pelvis and my shoulder girdle are illuminated. Like they're very, very clear and obvious. But that might just be my body. Beautiful. If you'd like just to gently roll yourself over without disturbing yourself too much, we're going to come into a supported back bend. And I'm going to leave it to you to decide whether you use a bolster, or you can also use a brick for this. We're going to come into a supported bridge initially. So whether you're on the brick or the bolster, you want your sacrum dropping into that support. You don't want, if you're on a brick, you don't want the edge of the brick to cut into your spine. So you want to bring it halfway down your buttocks. And I'm taking a hot water bottle over my belly. You might want something under your head. Now, it may be that this is enough just for you to really release the hips, the buttocks, the back of the pelvis into the support beneath you. Or you might find it's quite comfortable to slide the feet away. You've got a little bit of extension, a little bit of an opening over the front of the body. And then you take your arms wherever they feel comfortable. And do cover yourself in a blanket if you need to. And if you don't feel that you're high enough, you could raise the brick to the second level. You could take a brick underneath your bolster. If you've got a flat bolster like me and it's just not quite enough. And then really drop into the shoulders, the arms, the head. Really drop into the heels of your feet. And allow the whole of the front of your body to gently blossom, gently open, unfurl. Really feel your skin. And we'll stay a while. And incidentally, that tongue curling and trying to touch the chin that we did at the beginning of the practice is just a fantastic way of not only exercising the muscle of the tongue, but of releasing the cavity of the mouth, the throat, and the jaw. So in a pose like this, you might want to practice that again. Take the tip of your tongue and you curl it all the way back as far as it will go towards the throat. And then slowly bring it back again and slide it through your lips. And all the way down to touch your tongue. Stretch. Have a go if that feels good. It might not be your cup of tea. I found it quite a revelation myself. breathing feather-light. Try not to introduce any strain into the breath. We're not trying to breathe deep. We're simply observing how the breath moves the body. I'm going to read you a short poem by Edith Södergran. On foot, I had to walk through the solar systems before I found the first thread of my red dress. Already I sense myself. Somewhere in space hangs my heart. Sparks fly from it, shaking the air to other reckless hearts. On foot, I had to walk through the solar systems before I found the first thread of my red dress. Already I sense myself. Somewhere in space hangs my heart. Sparks fly from it, shaking the air to other reckless hearts. Breathe. And keep dropping with the weight of the body. What experience, what sensation, what emotion has your body embodied over time? Allow your body to remember, to reflect, without thought, without analysis. It's an intelligence which is connected to the brain but isn't the brain. You'd allow yourself to drop into that intelligence of your body and trust it entirely. Breathe and drop a little deeper if you can. Just for a final minute or so here. This is a very, very different practice to last week's intense yin. We had such strong sensation. Okay. If your knees aren't bent, if you'd like to bend them up so both feet are standing on the floor. And then press enough into your feet so that you can lift your back off the support, whether it's a brick or a bolster, and slide that support away from you. And then gently release your back down to the mat. Slowly, slowly. And take a moment now, because we were 10 minutes there, so it might feel quite interesting for your back to find the floor. And what feels intuitively right to you? Do you want to bring your knees in towards you? Have a little rock from side to side? Are you ready to slide your feet away and lie completely flat for a few moments? You choose your way. And notice the aftermath, the rebound, the residue from that long extension of your spine, that long back bend. I'm afraid I'm going to disturb you again to prepare for the next pose. I'd like us to rotate the spine a little, so it's going to be a restorative twist. And for this, I'm going to elevate the end of my bolster. So I'm just assuming that most of you have these props. I hope you can sort of make do if you don't. So I'm elevating the end of the bolster by placing it on a brick. I'm placing a blanket, but you could use a cushion at the top of the bolster. Then you're going to sit with your slight sitting side saddle. I'm starting with the right side of my hips against the bolster, but either way is fine. And it might be nice to place something like a hot water bottle or cushion in between your thighs. And then you're going to take a hand on either side of the bolster. Fantastic. And then as you breathe in, find length in the spine. And breathe out, maybe bring your belly, your lower ribs down onto the bolster. And then take another breath in. So you're looking for a little bit more length in the spine. And then come down over your chest. Take one more breath in to find that length. And as you come down with your head, choose if you want to look in the same direction as your knees, or if it feels all right to look in the opposite direction. That will entirely depend on how you feel in the neck. And then really drop into the shoulders. It's a very gentle twist. Can you feel the weight of your hips, the inside of your thighs, your ankles and your feet? So obviously, if you're looking in the opposite direction to your knees, you are bringing more twist both into the upper spine and the neck. But it just might not be comfortable for you. You're going to need to arrange your arms in such a position that you can really drop into the arms and the shoulders. So you might need to slide them forwards. Breathe and soften. I personally find I get quite caught up in this pose. I don't know about you. It can take a little bit of time to really soften and let go. Can you observe that process for yourself? Breathe. Keep relaxing in the ribs, the muscles between the ribs, the intercostal muscles, the shoulders. Can you breathe right into your belly? Are you still giving your body permission to rest? Your mind permission to rest deeply? Are you still honoring your intention if you set yourself an intention? And turning your head so that your forehead is pressing into your blanket or your bolster. And bringing your hands so they're directly underneath your shoulders and lightly push. So you very slowly come up, straightening your arms, and absolutely no hurry here. And then for a moment, you're going to come around to sit with your back against the end of your bolster, just for a moment in a neutral position. So you're untwisting. And then you come the other way. So for me, it's the left hip against the bolster, a hand on either side. And then we come down slowly because this helps us extend the spine. So take a breath in and find length. And breathe out, bring your lower belly down. Maybe to the bottom of your ribs. And take another breath in and find a bit more length. And breathe out, bring your chest down. And breathe and take one more breath in and lengthen a bit more. And choose if you bring your head down to look in the same direction as your knees, or if you want more of a twist, bringing it to look in the opposite direction. And allow yourself again to find your way in the pose, into really dropping, to really resting. Placing your arms where they need to be so that your shoulders can really drop. And breathe and melt a little. Keep letting go. Keep resting. And then you can gently turn your head again, so your forehead is into the support. Place your hands underneath your shoulders and very, very, very gently lift yourself up and come around to lengthening out your legs and taking a moment here just to feel the body. We just have one more pose. Absolutely fine if you feel I feel I need to roll my shoulders a bit and my head around a little bit. We're going to use our support to come into reclining goddess with the option of a bind with a belt. So you could use your long loop that you had before and bring the belt around your lower back. You can always do it without the belt, it's not at all important. If you're somebody with a round fat bolster, I would recommend placing a folded blanket or a block for your lower back here. I'm using a thin bolster, so I don't need it, but you don't want to have too big a curve in your lumbar spine. And then you bring your feet together in towards the groin. And if you're using the belt, bring the belt between your legs over your feet. So they're kind of around the outside of the ankles. And then tighten your belt as much as feels good. So you don't want to feel any strain, but you want to feel quite nicely swaddled. So I don't know if I'm making it clear. Basically, the belt is around the lower back, coming down the insides of the legs, and then wrapped around the other side of the feet, like that. And you want to bring your lower back right up against the bolster and settle your spine all the way along the bolster in your head. And we have 10 minutes, and this is where we stay. So you just make sure you're warm enough. Make sure your arms can settle. And if you're hypermobile, if you just feel quite fragile or vulnerable rather in the hips here, prop them up, place bricks or cushions or whatever you need underneath the thighs. Maybe take your eye pillow. And of course, you can also rest here with the legs extended if you don't like the hip opening that's going on here. And bit by bit, allow all the tissues up and down the spine and further around each side, around the back, the sideways, the ribs, to release into the support beneath you. Let it have you. You might feel your shoulders dropping out to the sides, this lovely passive opening, expansion of the chest. And feel your body breathing now. This is such a receptive pose. I feel like it's completely receptive and opening to the atmosphere in my room. I don't know about you. Sense of the night sky beyond my roof. Maybe a very thin remnant of the dying moon before it becomes a new moon. Which I think is tomorrow, but I know there's some of you here tonight who know much more about these things than I do. Can you let your body rest? And consequently, let your mind rest. Can you release the lower jaw away from the upper jaw? Soften all the tissues around and behind your eyes. Maybe visualizing your optic nerve in the back of each eye and tracing the nerves back until they join into one optic nerve right to the back of the skull. Buoyant, illuminated. And you surrender any remaining tension, anything you're holding on to. You let it go. And just breathe with the evening air all around you. We have another 5 minutes, and at any point that you feel that the opening in the hips is not completely comfortable, so there might be strain in the inner thighs, the groin, then please bring your legs together, take them out of the belt and lengthen your legs out long. This is supposed to be completely, deliciously easy and comfortable. Complete pampering of your whole system. So let that happen. And stay ever so close, ever so intimate with the breath, with sensation. For our final minutes here. I'm going to read another very short poem by Antonio Machado. It's possible that while sleeping, the hand that sows the seeds of stars started the ancient music going again. like a note from a great harp, and the frail wave came to our lips as one or two honest words. It's possible that while sleeping, the hand that sows the seeds of stars started the ancient music going again, like a note from a great harp. And the frail wave came to our lips as one or two honest words. If your legs are not extended yet, please extend them, gently releasing the belt and sliding your feet long so that you can just take the last few breaths here. Hips neutral, legs neutral. You need to take care when you come off your bolster. So you will bend up your knees, feet on the floor, and roll very, very delicately off to one side and come right off the bolster so you end up in a recovery position. Rest your head on your arm. And take a few breaths here. Before you're ready to bring yourself up to sitting with minimal disturbance, and we'll end the practice together in a seated position. Eyes closed perhaps, and hands together in front of the heart space. Just taking these final moments just to simply observe how you feel. Any insight, any reflection that you would like to take away with you from this practice. And then taking a full breath into the heart space. And as you breathe out, bowing your head, chin to your chest. And use the next breath in to lift your head gently and open your eyes into the evening.